Okay, it looks like we are live. It looks like we're live. And let me bring this up on the iPad, see what things sound like. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Think it's going to be okay, but just making sure here. Stig's in the house.
It looks like we are.
Okay, and Stig is in the house. So we're going to have a broadcast. Might not be as long a broadcast as we have sometimes. I'm still messing with these allergies a little bit, but I've been taking an allergy pill for the last 4 days. My sister said it would really start kicking in after 5 days and would solve the problem. She has some allergies, and she actually takes this particular pill every day, year-round. So I normally had the issues in the fall and never really took anything, and it just kind of went away. But this time it's been lingering, so I don't like to take medications, but I'm taking this. It's over-the-counter pill. I got it at Costco, and seems to be working. So, seems to be helping a little bit, I'll put it that way. So, we're going to talk about 18 karat yellow gold again, because there's been some comments in some of the forums recently that 18 karat yellow gold is passé and is so 80s and all this stuff, and that steel is the new luxury material for watches. That all luxury watches should be steel. So I don't think I agree with that. I think that luxury watches here comes that cough. Luxury watches should be made of a luxury material, like gold, like platinum, something luxurious, right? I mean, that's the whole point of luxury items. A lot of times they're made from luxury materials, and a lot of times they take a little extra time to make, and a lot of times there's an actual benefit to making the item out of a luxury material. For example, watches we've talked about, 18 karat yellow gold holds up really well. It almost never tarnishes, depending on who does the alloy. It's very stable, almost as stable as pure gold. Of course, pure gold is extremely stable. Doesn't tarnish at all. It is what it is. But 18 karat gold, if the alloy is done properly, and most luxury watch brands are going to do it properly, is also very stable material for the long haul. Stainless steel, not so much. You can absolutely get corrosion on stainless steel. There can be issues. Now, subjectively, I think the 18 karat yellow gold looks better as well. I have an 18 karat gold stunner on wrist right now. Let's take a close-up of that. And I think it looks, let me see if I can get that in focus. There we go. I think it looks really, really nice on wrist. I think it looks very elegant. I don't think it looks flashy at all because I have it fully exposed here. I could put it underneath the cuff, but for purposes of the show, I have it fully exposed. But I don't think it looks like Miami Vice-like. I think if you dress properly and you wear a nice luxury watch, I think it looks very nice. Picture, if you will, if I was wearing right now like a Submariner. I don't think that would look as classy. I really don't. I don't think it would be appropriate for someone that is properly dressed. So if you're sporting, if you're going out on the boat or otherwise sporting around, absolutely. A steel sport watch is absolutely appropriate, but for dress, I don't think so. I don't think so. So let me know in the chat what you guys think about that. Brie Fit Dance is in the house. She has been making things happen. I'll tell you what, this young lady is on a tear. She's making things happen. She's had some hit videos out recently. She's picked up a bunch of additional followers on social media, and I neglected to put her URL in the description of this video. I will do that. But let me show you her website. I will do that. BrieFitDance.com. There she's holding her Lucchese boots in that picture. She's got some gorgeous Lucchese ostrich boots. She also has a pair of Lucchese's that are snakeskin, that are absolutely stunning. And like I say, she's been on a tear with her social media recently, releasing hit after hit. And her biggest hit so far is the one about Michael Saylor buying more than 30,000 Bitcoin. He personally owns, I believe, 17,000 Bitcoin, just personally. And then his company bought a boatload worth, I think $425 million worth. Maybe Brie will let us know in the chat the exact number. $425 million. She'll let us know how many Bitcoin that was because she knows it by heart. But she sang about him, and that video went viral. It went crazy. Oh, yeah, on Twitter. It got more than 600,000 views. So, well done. So, Stig says, I'm okay. I think he's talking to the lovely Brie. Let me pull up to see what Bitcoin's doing as we speak. The Bitcoin. There was a little sell-off earlier, but then the bulls stepped in and started buying it back up. And now it looks like it's at 13,600. So I think it was down as low as 13,200 earlier, 200 and something. But now the bulls stepped in and bought it back up to 13,006. It's amazing tug of war right now between the bulls and the bears. And it's hard to say who's going to win. But so far, the bulls have been doing a pretty good job. Little trivia, you know, when they used to have the fights between the bear and the bulls, out in California and other places they did it. I think in the early 1800s, maybe before the Civil War, maybe around that time. Anyway, long time ago. They used to stage fights between a real bear and a bull or bulls. And most of the time the bear won in the real fights. And so sometimes the bear would fight one bull and then have to fight another one. And yeah, they used to do that Sunday afternoons after church. They used to have these matches between a real bear and a bull. So there you go. Back in the day. And Watch Medicine says, who's going to win, Biden or Trump? Who do you predict and how confident are you? I have no idea. I think, a lot of Bitcoiners are saying that Bitcoin's going to win. Regardless, that Bitcoin's going to win. So somebody tweeted out earlier, if Trump wins, Bitcoin's going to pump. If Biden wins, Bitcoin's going to pump. So I thought that was kind of creative. I have no idea, but I wouldn't be surprised if Trump pulls it out. Everybody predicted he was going to lose last time, and he pulled it out and won. And they're pretty much predicting that he's going to lose this time. Most of the experts, right? I think it'll be funny if he wins and proves all the experts wrong. I don't think it makes any difference, in the overall scheme of things. Whoever's president isn't going to help me any, and they're probably not going to help you. It's up to helping yourself, right? That's the situation. You got to help yourself. If people think that the government is going to be their savior. Now, if they go into politics and they're able to do like Joe Biden and have a career for 47 years in politics and draw a paycheck and do a lot of sweetheart deals and stuff like that, then yeah, you can do well with the government. You can do well. But that's kind of very few people that do that well with the government. Most of them don't do that well getting involved with the government. So, yeah, there's that. Briefit Dance says it's 38,250 Bitcoins for the Bull of Bulls, 425 million for MicroStrategy. Whoa. Talk about stepping up and making things happen, Michael Saylor. He stepped up and made things happen. So what do you guys think? I mean, let's get some comments. There's 12 folks watching, not that many. Not that many on a Monday afternoon. But what do you guys think? Does the 18 karat gold stunner look appropriate in a dress situation? And I'm not talking full dress. I'm not talking about formal attire. I'm talking about like I am now, with a suit with French cuffs and a nice 18 karat gold stunner. What do you guys think? Do you think it would look better if I had a large stainless steel sport watch on wrist, like a Submariner date, or maybe a GMT Pepsi? Or what do you think? What do you think would look better in this type of attire? What do you guys think? What do you think about that? And I've even made the argument that I could wear this 002 stunner in a more casual, wearing a more casual attire. I don't wear jeans that often, but jeans and a polo shirt could probably do it, right? Some Bermuda shorts and a polo shirt, and the 002. Let's take a close up. And by the way, I took a little risk. I went with the I've got a burgundy pinstripe shirt here, and the green tie, and this is just dark gray suit with a crosshatch pinstripe to it. What do you think? Pushing it a little bit. Yes, says hello guys and Brie. Caesar says the gold stunner is more appropriate for a suit. There you go. I think I agree with that. But a lot of the guys in the forums are saying no, steel all the way. That yellow gold is passé, and that you shouldn't wear it. That you should never wear it. By the way, this Wednesday I might be picking up. Let me show you the picture of the one that Durr got. I hope Durr won't mind this, but Durr got that stunner, that faux pay stunner. Talk about 18 karat yellow gold. There's a stunner in 18 karat yellow gold that's on his wrist. He sent me the photo. And that's a faux pay bracelet. And Steve got 2 of them in. He got one in for Durr, which Durr has. It was shipped to him. There's another one there that I'm going to go look at on Wednesday. And if it's as stunning as Durr says it is, and as I think it is, because I've seen, Steve has one that's rose gold, and I've seen his many times. But if it's as stunning as I think it is, that might be on my wrist come Wednesday afternoon. What do you guys think about that? Do you think that would go along nicely with the 002? Let's say I had it on this wrist over here, right? Would it be a nice complement to the 002 stunner? Or do you think that's going too far? What do you guys think about that? Mike says the 002 is the answer, however it looks a little loose. I had it tighter the other day, and I decided I actually like it one adjustment looser, because unlike other watches, when this watch is on the bone or below the bone, it's still comfortable for me. It's very comfortable either way. And so with it loose like this, I can wear it down, all the way down on the hand if I want, but I can still get it underneath most of my cuffs, okay, with no real issue, right? So if I want it to be more concealed, I can still do that, but yet I have the flexibility to bring it out easily. If it's on that next tighter one, it's a little bit harder to move it around, and actually it felt a little snug. So really for me, probably in between, if I had a hole, in between, maybe when I have my next custom strap made, I'll have that done. But yeah, I've decided I backed it off one notch, and so that was very observant. Very observant of you, Mike, to notice that. Pre-fit dance faux bracelet and GS would look classier with a suit. There you go. Gold bracelet and gold watch looks great, says yes. Okay. Thinking that Super Pepsi make you look like a nouveau riche person showing off. And so you think that this actually has a little more class to it, especially if I wear it like this, like kind of tucked underneath the cuff, you know, just not fully exposed. You think that? Of course, I want it. I want it out. I like it out, fully exposed like that. Now, this I will say, this particular French cuff on this Brooks Brothers shirt is very tight, very snug. Most of my other French cuffs, it goes under even easier, even the loose adjustment that it is right now. But I'll tell you, I normally don't like a loose-fitting watch, I will tell you, but this watch is the exception. It's extremely comfortable with it adjusted the way it is right now. It just floats on the wrist. It just freaking amazing. Freaking amazing. Stig, let's see. Craig, do you wear a necklace? No, I don't. Don't have any other gold jewelry at all. This faux Brie bracelet will be my first, really. So, and I'm not usually enamored with wearing a bracelet, but when I saw Steve's, I was like, whoa, that looks amazing. So, you know, even an old dog can change a little bit, can learn a few new tricks, right? So there you go. Refit Dan says, thank you, Stig. I appreciate your support. Mike says, what did the late James Bond wear when dressed for the nightlife? That's a good question. That's a good question. You mean like in real life, Sean Connery? I wonder how much he partied. I don't know that much about what he did when he wasn't James Bond. Craig says, hi, Craig. Have you ever worn a Cartier Tech? No, I have not. I will be honest with you. This is my first really full-blown dress watch. Well, if you count the other GS, the other gold GS that I had, I didn't have it that long. Those two are really my first purebred dress watches that I've owned. And I will say that prior to that, as a dress watch, I always wore my Date 8. And they work. The Date 8 absolutely works as a dress watch. It's more of an all-arounder, in my opinion. It's not pure dress. It's more of an all-arounder. But as an all-arounder, they are stellar. They are the best choice, in my opinion, for an all-arounder. Because you get the benefits of a sport watch with the pressure-proof case and, you know, the durability of a Rolex. Not that this watch isn't durable. I think this spring drive will hold up very, very nicely, but there's something about a Rolex Oyster that is pretty amazing for an all-arounder. So, yeah, that's what I used as my dress watch for basically 40 years, was a Date 8. So, but I do prefer this to using the Date 8 as a dress watch. I have to tell you, I prefer this by a long margin. I think it's a lot classier looking in a dress situation, and I love this dial, just everything about it. Let's get another close-up of the 002 Stunner. See if I can get that in focus. There we go. So, let's see. Craig, the 002 looks just as if it were specially designed and made for you. Well, I tell you, I studied them for a long time, and we went back and forth on this channel. We talked about it, and I mean, you know, talk about measuring 7 times and cutting once. I mean, it was not an inexpensive watch, so you don't, at least I don't, make a decision like that lightly. But then when I researched the heck out of it, and then when I finally saw it in person, it was no hesitation at all. I was like, oh my gosh. Now, I didn't act that excited when I first saw it because I didn't want, I was still negotiating with Steve, right? So I acted like, it's okay, you know. But I was thinking, oh my God, you know, I have to leave with this watch, right? So, but I didn't tip my hand. I was a good poker player, right? I didn't tip my hand. And so we negotiated a deal, and I am just, I couldn't be more pleased with the piece. I wouldn't change one thing about the piece, and there are darn few watches that I can say that about, that there's not something I would change. So, yeah. Thanks for the comment, Stig. All right. Those of you that are watching and so forth, have you owned any 18 karat gold 18 karat yellow gold watches? Do tell. And do tell me what you all think. Take another look at that faux pay real quick. The faux pay bracelet Steve handles, those are from Italy, and they're specially made, and that has no clasp. It simply, as Durr described it, rolls on and off of your wrist. It has springs built into it that allow it to expand and contract to go on and off of your wrist. And they are so robust that they guarantee them for life. They guarantee them for life. If they ever fail, they will fix it. Fopay will make good on it. So that is pretty cool. Can you explain the spring drive? The spring drive is amazing development. In a nutshell, the way it works is, the reason it's called spring drive is, excuse me, you actually have a spring you wind up. In this case, it's a manual wind. A lot of them are automatic watches, like the 231 there. That's automatic, right? That's a spring drive. See that second hand gliding around? And what happens is the spring stores the energy, just like in an automatic watch, right? The spring drives the drivetrain of the watch, okay? And instead of having a normal escapement as the timing mechanism, which is what most watches have, what you have is I think they call it a tri-synchro regulator, or they have some fancy name, right? But basically the way it works is there's a wheel that spins from the mainspring. The mainspring provides all the power, just like in an automatic watch. There is no battery, there's no capacitor, there's nothing to store energy in the watch, right? That's why they're so robust. Anyway, as the spring powers a wheel that spins, okay, there is a small current generated which activates a electromagnetic brake, which then regulates the speed of that wheel, actually slows it down so that it is always running at the right speed. If the magnet wasn't working, if it wasn't regulating it, what would happen is the watch would run a little bit fast because it would always run faster. What this does is it slows it down. It does not speed it up. It never speeds it up. It just slows it down so that it's running at the right speed. That's what the electromagnetic brake does. So basically, there's a very robust, very small circuit, electronic circuit, that tells this electromagnetic brake to slow down the spinning of this wheel so that it's spinning at the right speed, and so that the watch is therefore running at the right speed. Okay? And I believe there is a quartz crystal involved that allows it to know what speed to run it at, right? But you can get all the details on how the tri-synchro regulator works. It's really ingenious. Because what they've managed to do is they managed to get rid of the escapement, that back and forth, boom, 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 of this escapement, which causes a lot of issues in a typical automatic watch. That doesn't exist in one of these spring drives, because the wheel's always going in the same direction all the time. It's not going back and forth, right? It's always going in the same direction. And because it's electromagnetic brake that's slowing it down, there's no friction there. There's no metal on metal. There's nothing to cause wear, right? And so they are extremely robust. And because, unlike a quartz watch, they don't have a battery or any kind of a capacitor or a solar cell or any of that kind of stuff to fail, they have the circuitry is very robust and very simple. And so its likelihood of failure is very small. They are extremely robust, the spring drive. Most people that have them, the early ones that they bought 20 years ago or something, I mean, they're still running fine, right? They just don't give trouble. So it is pretty amazing, Frank. The more you look into it, the more you'll be like, oh my gosh. Now, having said that, the 9F movement, quartz movement that Grand Seiko makes is also a marvel. It's not your typical quartz movement, the 9F. It's amazing too. So Cesar, I would love to have a yellow gold Daytona with green dial. I'm currently in my 80s waiting list. Cool. Yeah, that would be cool. I'm not a big Daytona fan. I would rather go for the Day-Date personally because I don't like the cluttered dial. But and I never kind of understood the Daytona thing. They never sold that well back in the day. By the way, they weren't that popular for a reason. I mean, they're it's kind of like unless you're using that timing function on a regular basis, it just kind of gets in the way, right? No real reason to have it. Let's see here. Daniel says, I have a yellow gold Day-Date 40. Love it. Very impressive on the wrist. Hey, which dial do you have? Do you have the black dial? To tell, because the black dial is amazing. Dudley has the black dial, and it's amazing. But there's a couple of dials that come on those that are amazing. So, white Roman numerals, yeah, that's pretty amazing too. I'm not a big Roman numeral fan, but they do look good. They're okay. I mean, wouldn't turn it down. And yes says very nice. Stig says, David, do you wear your Day-Date on a daily basis? And if so, what are your experiences? Good, very, very good question. Mike's in the house. I personally don't like the look of a bracelet on a man. Too feminine for my liking. A little much. A gold watch can easily stand on its own. Mike says, and I would normally have agreed, but when I saw that faux pas on Steve's wrist, it really looks classy. And these are a little thicker than what you would normally see on a woman, and it just looked pretty awesome. I may change my opinion when I put it on wrist and I see it on my wrist, but that's the one he just got. We ordered them at the same time. He got his because Steve shipped his overnight to him. I'm picking mine up in person on Wednesday, but Durr just got his yesterday, the day before. And he loves it. He loves it. He says it goes great with the Day-Date. So I will have a full report after I see it. And if I do a show and it's on my wrist, then I liked it. That's how that whole thing works. Frank says, thanks for explaining the spring drive. I have a 36 millimeter Day-Date with silver dial, but I really want a GS SBGW258. Will you be wearing the GS in rotation with the Day-Date? Let us know. SBGW258. Let's pull it up. Just give me a moment here. Pull this up. And that's my 231 Diver Stunner, SBGA 231. That's in titanium. I love that sport watch. Love it, love it, love it. Oh, here's the one. Yeah, we've talked about this watch before. There's some things I like about it, but personally, I would definitely, for the same money, I would go for the 002 that I have on wrist. I think it's a better looking watch. I like the shape of the case a little better. I think that's the way I would go. Now, does this one have the deployant clasp? I don't remember. Let's see. 18 karat yellow gold. Okay. It's also nice and trim, just like mine is. Clasp type, 3-fold clasp with push button release. So I guess it's a deployant, which is important. That's what mine has as well. Mechanical winding. So it's very similar to mine. It's very similar. Yeah. I mean, I'd have to see it in person. Could almost be a coin toss. It's a gorgeous piece. A gorgeous piece. I love the snowflake dial on this one. I can't get that in focus. Whoops. And you can't really see in this picture, but the blued second hand is really stunning. So there's some things about the 002 that I really like. Now, the 002 is a regular production unit, right? And I like the rounded lugs, the way they really flow into the case. Some people like that more squared off case design that this other watch has, the way the lugs meet the case. They're both gorgeous. I mean, I'm splitting hairs here. They're both gorgeous pieces. How can you go wrong with either? Nice and trim on the wrist. Classy looking piece. Okay. Beer says, have you picked out a suit to wear in your coffin? No, I haven't. I haven't even picked out the coffin yet. Okay. Daniel says, yes, thanks. The snowflake doll is amazing, says Frank. And especially on this watch, it really, really pops. I would highly recommend looking at the 002 and comparing it to the 258. That's what I would do. And by the way, Steve has an 002 in stock at Little Treasury. LittleTreasury.com has one in stock. And he'll talk turkey. He'll do a deal if you tell him you're a subscriber. All right, we might have a short show today. Oh, the lights just went out. The lights just went out in Georgia. Should I turn them back on? Let me know in the chat. Should I turn the lights in the background back on or leave them off? Maybe it looks better with them off. Maybe it makes me pop a little more. What do you think? Makes the star of the show pop more? What do you think about that? So, yeah, I'm going to Steve's on Wednesday. That's 2 days from now. And we are planning to have a live show from there. So that should be a lot of fun. Let me know what you guys want us to talk about. And let me know what you guys want us to show on Wednesday's show. I'm guessing you'll have a bunch of the Breitlings in stock. He had the Breitling display cabinets set up. That's his new product line, to add to the many that he already carries of various cool watches. So let me know. What should we show? What should we talk about? Beer Serve says, Craig, is it worth it paying for the extra money for a nice coffin with luxurious wood and silk interior? I think I might just be cremated. I'm a cheapskate. I really am. I don't believe in spending money for things that you're not going to really get enjoyment out of. And a coffin is the clear definition of something you're not going to get enjoyment out of. I think you're beyond getting enjoyment at that point if you're in a coffin. So yeah, probably not buying an expensive coffin. Maybe not buying one at all. Maybe just taking that money and leaving it in Bitcoin. That might be the plan at that point. And Mike says, GS and Omega, please. Okay, so we'll show some GS and Omega pieces. And like I say, we'll probably show some Breitling pieces too, because that's his new line. And yeah, I mean, we'll just kind of try to get caught up. It's been quite a while. I think the last time I was at Steve's was when I picked up the 002. I think that was the last time. Because, he hasn't been having his parties because of the virus thing. So, yeah, it's been a while since I've been there. Carlos is in the house. He says, hello from Maryland. All right, Carlos in the house in Maryland. I believe he said he's in Bethesda. I was born in Bethesda. I was born in Bethesda. He's in my old stomping grounds, Bethesda, Maryland. Absolutely. Absolutely, positively. All right, let me know, folks. We're going to wrap this puppy up. Let me know if there's anything else you want us to talk about on Wednesday. Mike says, I'm going out like a Viking. Sent adrift in a wooden boat and set on fire. There you go. Absolutely, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. That wouldn't cost much. Oh, excuse me. just a remote stretch of water, stretch of H2O, and a nice raft and some firewood and some combustible material. And born in West Baltimore, says Deaver. And Brie Stan says, we need Craig for years, LOL. Let's see. Did you vote? Buser says. Okay. And Bitcoin is the way to go, says Brie. Did you vote? I voted for Bitcoin. Yes, I cast my vote for Bitcoin. Deaver's in the house. Great stuff, Craig. Well, thank you. Thank you. Stig says, at the moment, the new Rolex colorful oyster petrels seem to be the hottest if you can get your hands on them. I do not understand this. Really? Those are selling well? I was like kind of mixed about them. I thought maybe some ladies would want, some of them are 36 mil, right? Isn't that correct? I was thinking that might be good for some ladies. But the funny colors you think about, the ladies might like that. Yeah, I'm just kind of surprised if those are really selling that well. But they're affordable, right? So that helps. Carlos says, freezing windy day today for tourism, but enjoyed. You are on the National Mall today? Whoa, yeah, it would have been chilly. Yeah, tomorrow and the next day should be nicer. So tomorrow, get out, Carlos, and enjoy some things. And then Wednesday, before you head to Little Treasury, you should have some opportunities to see some cool things. Are you going to go to Annapolis and see some things before you go to Steve's? Are you going to do Annapolis on the way? That might be a plan. Annapolis is always fun. And I don't know if they're doing the noon formation on Wednesday. If they are, the noon lunchtime formation, that is a blast to see. We talked about that before. Deaver says, do you still own your Shogun? No, I don't. I got rid of the Shogun when I got the 231 Stunner. I upgraded, basically. That 231 is basically Grand Seiko's answer to the Shogun. It really is the same watch, but just a major upgrade, in my opinion. Because just like the Shogun, it's very legible dial. Just like the Shogun, it's titanium. Just like the Shogun, it's very comfortable on wrist. But it's just a major step up as far as the spring drive accuracy and other things. My Shogun ran slow, and I do not like a watch that runs slow because it's a pain every time you have to reset it. You have to get this second hand and sync with the minute hand and, all that nonsense. Whereas if the watch is running fast, you just hack it, just stop it. And let's say it's 20 seconds fast, just stop it for 20 seconds and start it again, right? That's easy. So that's one of the main reasons I upgraded was the 007 Shogun ran slow. But I enjoyed it. I wore it for a couple of years, I think. A couple of years. I did enjoy that watch. So, yeah. Yusuf, what do you think of GS chronographs with giant pushers? I don't mind the pushers, but the watches seem a little bit thick to me. And I'm not a big chronograph person anyway, of any chronograph. So, yeah, I probably wouldn't be a play on it. Now, I'll tell you what, I would rather have the GS spring drive chronograph with the GMT function and so on and so forth in titanium than I would a Daytona any day. That would absolutely trump the Daytona for me. I think it's a much more interesting watch, but I really would not buy either as my first choice. Deaver says, nice GS. Are you talking about the 231? Yes, it is. It is an amazing diving watch. I think that's the finest diver's watch ever made, ever even conceived by man. And then, of course, the best dress watch is right here. Are you seeing a theme here, a common theme? We go for the best here on this channel. We go for the best, folks. The best. We don't trifle around. Okay? Let's see. Frank says, is the Day-Date 40 with black dial still on your radar? I don't think I can go back to Rolex. I've been spoiled by the accuracy of these spring drives to the point where I don't think I could go back. And I don't think I would buy the 40. Now, the more I think about it, if I was going to buy another date 8, I think it would be a 36. I think the 40 would be a little too clunky for me. This is a 38 mil or 38 and a half mil, and I just wouldn't want it any bigger. And this is thinner, of course, than a date 840, and of course it doesn't have the bulk of the bracelet and all. I just wouldn't want something bulkier than this for a dress watch. I think this is like right at the max that I would want. Matter of fact, I would be just as happy if this was like, let's say maybe 37 mil. I'd be happy, right? But 38 and a half, it works. It works. But 40, no. Not for a dress watch. and that was one of the things I would be wearing it for, would be dress. So yeah, 40 I think is too big. Now, if I had a 7.5 inch wrist, maybe. Like Carlos, I think has a 7.5 inch wrist. Maybe even bigger than that. He's a big guy. Excuse me. Buserve, could you have asked Steve to do you a bro favor and regulate the Shogun? I didn't know Steve at the time. I believe, if I remember the timeline correct, I think I sold the 007 and then went to Little Treasury and bought the 231 replacement. I don't think I had them both simultaneously. I could be wrong on that, but I don't think so. But it's possible he could have done that. But I really, the first time I heard about the 231 from Arizona Fine Time, I was enamored with that watch. And the only reason I didn't pull the trigger then, that was like 8 years ago, is I didn't know where to get one. And then I finally learned that there was an AD near Annapolis, Little Treasury. And then I finally made the road trip there, and that was like, okay, yeah, got to get that. So I think I had already sold the 007, though. But I can't remember for sure. Can't remember for sure. Okay. Have any Bitcoin millionaires proposed to Brie yet? No, they haven't. And, you know, a lot of the crypto Twitter folks, I hate to say this, but a lot of them seem to be cheapskates. A lot of them seem to be cheapskates. They want her to do a video for them or whatever, and they want to pay like peanuts, or they want it for free. I mean, a lot of them are cheapskates. I think a lot of those crypto Twitter folks, I think a lot of them don't even have much Bitcoin. I think, as they would say in Texas, I think some of them are all hat and no cattle. What do you think about that? All hat and no cattle. So, your thoughts on Samuel Hubbard shoes? Not familiar with them, but if there's some newer designer type thing, I would probably pass. I would go for some high quality like English shoes, like Churches or something like that. Maybe Crockett and Jones. I would probably go that direction. Yeah. I have a nice supply of dress shoes, so I'm not in the market, so I'm probably kind of good on that. The 002 presents itself bigger, maybe the white dial. It does jump out. I think it looks good, though. I think the size is acceptable. Again, I wouldn't want it any bigger, but let's look at some shoes real quick, because the gentleman asked about shoes. Let's not blow by his question. On this channel, we help people out with things, right? That's what we do on this channel. We help people out. So let's see what we can find. Okay, dress shoes. Let's look at dress shoes. What do we do here? What do we do? Let's look at dress shoes. That's what we'll do. We'll look at dress shoes on the channel. Okay. Keep them in these containers just for dust, and there's of course shoe trees in them. Those are my churches. Those are ranch oxhide. Those are custom grade churches from about the early 80s, maybe 83ish. I bought them up in New York on a trip to New York. They're still in great shape. There's the soles, original soles. There's another look at them. Now these were bought at Johnson and Murphy back when Johnson and Murphy sold some decent shoes. I believe these were made in Italy. Had them a long time. Those were probably my first pair of decent shoes, and those have been half soled, and they're still in decent shape. Bought those in about 1978. See the half soles on them? Okay, and now these are, I believe, who made these? Were these? Yeah, these are Pearl and Company, which is basically Crockett and Jones. That's Brooks Brothers. Crockett and Jones makes some shoes for them, and so these are very nice, made in England. Okay, and also in very good condition. See, I have a nice rotation of shoes, so none of them get a lot of wear. Now, this is the other pair that I bought, I believe from Johnson and Murphy also. That 1978. These are like my oldest pair of dress shoes. And again, these have been half sold, and they've been through it. They've been through the mill. Okay, these are. Let me see if these are churches. I think these are churches. Yeah, these are churches, and again, made in England, and very comfortable. Very nice shoes, and relatively high-end English shoes. Speaking of high-end, these are Edward Green. These are really nice, and Edward Green. If you really want to step up, get yourself a pair of Edward Greens, and these have like the Town and Country sole, and so yeah, those are pretty much all that. So there you go. There's some shoes for you, dress shoes. Frank, do you have any vintage leather jackets? I've got a whole video on leather jackets on the channel here. Yes, I have some nice ones. When you say vintage, I mean I bought them new. I'm vintage, so they're vintage. I have some that date back, 40 years. I have one of my favorites is probably the Indiana Jones jacket made by Wested Leather. It was from the original Indiana Jones movie, Raiders of the Lost Ark. The gentleman in England who made the jackets for that movie, I contacted him and he made one for me. And then subsequently he started selling them to the public on his website, Wested.com, Wested Leather Company in the UK. He's since passed away, unfortunately. But that's one of my favorites. That's a great jacket. Let me see if I can pull up a photo of that. Just if I can, I will. I will if I can find it. Here we go. Oh, here's an album I put together of a bunch of coats. So these are all bomber jackets. So we'll go through these real quick. Again, that's Wested Leather Company. And that was made to measure. He's got a size 42 tag in there, but it was made to measure. I think he still offers that service. Very nice jacket. Very comfortable. Very well made. And I have a video of me wearing all of these. If you want to see it, just go to my YouTube channel and search for it. Oh, there's the Date 8 President bracelet there in the background, folks. And there's this is a bomber jacket that is, of course, nylon. I think that's Averex. These are all made in the USA. U.S. wings. This one's made of kangaroo leather. It's a special order piece. These are all bomber jackets. There you go. All these photos you can find on my Flickr. And this is a sheepskin bomber jacket. Averex. I've since sold that because I just wasn't using it. Sold it. Most of these other coats I still have. So take a look at the video because that shows the whole coat with me wearing them and everything like that. Just go to my YouTube channel and search bomber jackets or something like that and you'll find it. Okay, we're going to wrap this up. Let me go through, catch up on the comments real quick here. Has anyone experienced with the Seiko Presage? I haven't, but I know they're pretty decent watches. Viewer Server says, would you hate living in the future when vintage Church's shoes and Gitman Brothers shirts are all too old and worn to wear? I have quite a supply of high quality clothing, so I think I have enough to last me the rest of my life. So I think I'm good. But yeah. Now, if they come through with some like miracle that I can live like hundreds of years, then yeah, it could be a problem. I might wear out all my shirts, all my suits, everything might wear out in like 200 years. I probably have about a 200-year supply right now of shirts, shoes, coats, jackets, sport coats, all that kind of stuff. Probably enough to last me about 200 years. Because I take good care of my stuff too. So there's that. Craig, a 36 millimeter two-tone yellow gold day chest. Or 37 millimeter Yachtmaster with the platinum bezel. I visited the AD and my wrists are too small for the 40 millimeter. Yeah, I think those would be great options. I love the Yachtmaster. I think it's a great piece. It has a much more elegant case design than the Super Case. It's nice and trim on the wrist. I think it's about 11.7 mils thick. So that would be a very good move. Craig, are your shoes loud while walking? No, not really. No. Mike says, I have a pair of Johnson Murphy made in Italy from 30 years ago. Love them. Their quality is no longer good. You're correct. You are correct. The quality has left the station when it comes to Johnson and Murphy, unfortunately. And a lot of brands, you have to be careful. I was talking to Brianne about this the other day. A lot of brands that back in the day, Patagonia, for example, I was wearing a nice Patagonia sweater or jacket, whatever you call them, fleece, you know, one that was made in the USA, really nice, high quality. And I was saying, hey, you got to be careful because a lot of their stuff now is made overseas and it's just not what it used to be. So a lot of these brands have hoarded themselves out to make that almighty dollar, right? And they're living off their brand name and they've cut quality, cut production costs, in many cases cut quality, and they're just milking that name for as long as they can, as long as people are willing to pay up, right? And they're just taking that money, and it can be a problem. Let's see. How do you clean your leather coats? I don't really clean them. I have some leather treatment that I can put on them, but I don't do it too often. I think if you keep them in a clean, dry place and take reasonable care of them, they hold up pretty good. Because I've got a number of them, so I don't wear the same one every day all the time. With clothes, rotation is important. With watches, not so much. Because a high-quality watch, you can wear every day. There's no issues, right? But clothing should be rotated. You shouldn't wear the same clothes all the time. You'll wear them out pretty quick doing that. Let's see. Does anyone else hate the new YouTube app layout? I haven't noticed. I'll take a look. Craig, have you ever worn a mask alone in your car? I almost never wear a mask, period. I wear them when I go to Costco to stock up on supplies because they require it. Other than that, I generally don't wear a mask. Try to avoid it. Michael's in the house. Craig, I sent you an email with a nice Omega and a vintage quartz Cradar that is 3.5 millimeters thick. Whoa! Let's take a look. And then we're going to wrap this up. If I can get my email to load, we will look. For some reason, my email on this laptop is slow loading right now, but I will keep trying. Meanwhile, you have to suffer through looking at the 231 titanium stunner diver. And Denver Smith says, stay safe, Craig. Yeah, this thing is not loading. It's not loading very well. Let's see. Okay, now I think it's finally loading. Bear with me, folks. You have to watch that smooth second hand while we wait. You have to watch that second hand just doing its thing. Wow. Wow, look at that Omega. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool. I say pretty cool. Not shabby. There's the Crador. That's kind of cool. I'm not a big fan of square watches, though. Somebody asked about the tank earlier. I mean, okay, so. But and see that little tiny crown? I'm just not a fan of that. And some of the watches did that style, but I just think it looks kind of cheap. And that is thin. My goodness, how can they possibly get a battery in that puppy? That is insane. It's cool. I mean, my gosh, if you want a thin watch, there you go. You got one. Pretty wild. Okay. Hey, Micro Craig, is Crater better than GS? Some Crators or however you pronounce it, are super upscale. Some not so much. So they have all of the above. So you can't give a blanket answer to that. All right. So we are going to wrap this puppy up. Stay tuned for a live broadcast from Little Treasury Jewelers coming on Wednesday. Live from Little Treasury Jewelers. And have all your questions and answers. Yeah. Hey, that's right. That's a good thing. Some of you can ask questions and others can give the answers. That way we, as the hosts, don't have to do as much work. So be ready for Wednesday. I think he's going to broadcast at the same time, 5 o'clock. So on that note, we're going to wrap this puppy up.